Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us here. We've got a lot to get to in this hour. We talked to Chris Blair yesterday, and Chris talked to us about the sit-down he had with Will Wade. That became live yesterday at 6 o'clock over on LSU Plus. So if you'd like to watch that, you can do so on LSU Plus. There's a free trial available there that you can check out. I had a chance to listen to it, and we're not going to play any of the sound from it because if you want to listen to it, you can certainly do that there. But I am going to give some opinion on a couple of matters that Will Wade discussed, but we'll do that in 15 minutes. Right now, I want to talk about an ESPN.com list because it surprised me a little bit and excited me a little bit, and I want to get your thoughts on that and kind of give you, as I was walking through it. You'll hear me say this a lot, but I want to set the stage for every segment that I do because not everybody listens every day, and sometimes some people consume things differently, whether it's on YouTube or whatever the case may be. Whenever I see a list like this, whether it's The Athletic or ESPN or CBS Sports or whoever puts it out, I think in my head about the local angle, what I think it's going to say, and then I'm interested to see if it proves me right or wrong. And ESPN ranked college football's best defensive players for 2026. And I thought about that, and I said, okay, let me think about LSU. And I started up front, and I thought, okay, Prince William Unmielen could be on that list. Backed up to linebacker, could absolutely see TJ Daugherty, who led the SEC in tackles, or Whit Weeks, who is a more household name, be on that list. I went to corner. DJ Pickett, I think, has garnered some respect nationally. Went back to secondary and safety, and I think Ty Benefield makes some sense as a guy that we feel good about. But I wasn't 100% certain who might make the list or just how highly guys could be thought of. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll go ahead and I'll go 1, 2, 3 in my head who I think the most likely players to be high on this list are from LSU. I put Prince William Unmielen first because he produced at a high level on a national semifinal team, big sack numbers. That's a flashy statistic. He's number 1 on my list. 2, I put Whit Weeks. He's famous. He's been in the league now for 3 years. He had a 100-tackle season 2 years ago. I put him second. And DJ Pickett, I put third. Famous recruit, 5-star player, had some interceptions last year, was the National Freshman of the Year defensively on 3. Those are my top 3. And I was wrong. Because there is an LSU player on this list at number 6, the 6th best defensive player in college football, according to ESPN.com, and he was not in my top 3. It's Ty Benefield. Now, look, I have said on the air that I feel like Ty Benefield could be the best player on the defense. So I'm not stunned by this. However, I've watched Ty Benefield practice at LSU a little bit, and we have our ear to the ground in Baton Rouge a little bit closer than every national guy who's covering, 60 programs in depth. So for Ty Benefield to be listed 6th, that's saying something. And this comes from personnel experts that ESPN surveyed, and they said they absolutely raved about Benefield and expect him to be one of the most impactful transfers in the country. There are some quotes in here from anonymous sources that ESPN pulled in putting this together. An ACC general manager said, "We've heard he's an absolute freak and was the best player on the field this spring." An ACC GM said that. An SEC defensive personnel person added, LSU's best defensive player is their safety. This is some high praise that's percolating through the college football world. Last year, Benefield played over 1,000 snaps. He was all Mountain West. He is 6'3", 208 pounds. In 3 years, 235 tackles, 18 TFLs, 16 pass breakups, 5 interceptions. Nobody in the Mountain West has played more snaps over the last 2 years, and he's also played 366 on special teams. So you're talking about a guy who impacts the game at a lot of different levels. Defensively, he makes a lot of tackles. He makes plays in the backfield. He breaks up passes down the field. He makes plays on the ball for interceptions. And he also contributes on special teams. His size is of no concern. He's big and rangy. That was one of the things that automatically stood out when we went to the first spring practice last year. They didn't even have shoulder pads on. It was shorts, jerseys, and helmets. And you could go out there, and I know how big Deshaun Spears is. I know how big he was when he was a recruit. I know what he looks like on an SEC football field. And Ty Benefield is every bit as big as Deshaun Spears. He looks like Spears. He looks like Eric Reed. He looks like those big physical safeties that LSU has had, and his production matches that. And the frame doesn't match this at all, but the production and career arc does. This feels like A.J. Halsey, and you saw what he did for LSU last year in Blake Baker's defense with Jake Olson as his position coach. This is a guy who it is now not reaching. It's realistic to believe that this could be an All-American at LSU. I didn't say it's a lock, but I think he's got a chance. And I keep alluding to this because it is June, and this is kind of where my mind is right now. I'm not locked in on the Clemson game plan today. That's not where I am. I am interested in the feedback when we go to SEC Media Days. It doesn't mean anything. I'm just curious. I know people will know Prince William. I know they will know Whit Weeks. I know they will know TJ Dottery. I know they will know DJ Pickett. There will be some that know Dominic McKinley. There will be some that know Malik Blockton from his SEC roots. I'm curious how many people are aware of Ty Benefield there. The Cole Kubelicks certainly will be. Are the other guys? I'm fascinated by that because we're going to be hyping this guy up. I remember very, very vividly, and this is a different deal because this was a freshman that LSU developed, and this is a transfer they're bringing in. But I remember this very vividly. I went on a South Carolina show the week of the Clemson game last year. It was not in Clemson. It was somewhere in a different part of the state. But I went on, and I was asked about a player that maybe Clemson hadn't focused on. That, not the team, not Dabo and the coaching staff, the fan base. And I said, yeah, there's a guy that not a lot of people know about, but they will, and he's a problem. His name's Trey'Dez Green, and I went through the whole spiel. And lo and behold, Trey'Dez Green draws a pass interference, gets LSU down to the 1-yard line for a touchdown, and then catches a fade for a second touchdown. And I got contacted by that radio station via Twitter and via text, like, oh, yeah, that was a pretty good call. And I'm not tooting my own horn there. I'm just saying we know things about LSU football that people outside of this little Baton Rouge bubble don't know. And so when you see that the Ty Benefield buzz has gotten to the national perspective as the 6th best player in college football defensively at this point in the calendar, you know that buzz is real. And I think he's going to be a star. Not the position, the stature in the sport. I think Deshaun Spears will play the star. But this guy is going to be a difference maker for LSU at safety, and it's exciting that they were able to land this guy. Lane Kiffin was on this early. He mentioned it early in press conferences. They brought him in very early in the portal cycle. They realized they had to have him. And you pair him with some really talented guys on the back end, with TaMarcus Cooley, with Deshaun Spears, with Pickett, with Woodland. I think you've got a real athletic, real rangy secondary. That's one of the things I like about LSU secondary. Pickett at 6'5", Benefield at 6'3", Spears at 6'2", 6'3". It's a rangy group. PJ Woodland's got long arms. I like LSU's secondary, and Ty Benefield is a huge, huge, huge part of that. So we're off and running here in hour number 2 of Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. When we come back, Will Wade sat down with Chris Blair last week. They aired it last night, and there are a couple of points that he made that I want to drill down on a little bit. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. I had a chance to sit down with David Duvall yesterday, and this may sound crazy because it's June and it's 100 degrees. But if you are having a big Christmas gift together and you do want to have a lot of folks upstairs in the house, but you're not real sure that the bathrooms are ready to handle that, now's a good time to make a phone call because the fall gets busy. Kids are in school, your routine gets ramped up, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's Halloween. You don't have time to get things done by Christmas. It's something that David and his team find every summer. That, I got a big crew coming in for Christmas this year. We got to get some work done in the bathroom. Because the last thing you want to do is have two bathrooms out of order while you've got a big family gathering going on. Also, if you're a husband walking around, driving around, listening to me, and the wife's been kind of on you, hey, we got to do this in the bathroom, and it's just not a priority for you, but it is for her, and you realize that that's going to trickle over to you eventually, One Bath and Closets needs to be the phone call you make. Contact David Duvall. He'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. He's had over 3 decades of experience. He knows what he's looking at. He knows what he's doing. He can absolutely customize something in the bathroom or the closet for you. Get that free consultation. Just sit down with David, you, your wife, husband, and chat through it. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
Brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
So, as I mentioned a couple times in the last segment, Chris Blair sat down with Will Wade for about a 22-minute interview, as you can find in its entirety at LSU Plus. I'm not going to play the sound from it. You can go check that out if you want to. It's a great sit down. Will is as usual, very candid, very open. You can make your jokes about that when legal situations are at play, but if you know Will Wade at all and you've listened to him in press conferences, he is certainly not afraid to suggest his team did something poorly, to talk about whether or not his team's playing hard, whether or not his team's playing well, and to open up about certain strategies that they have. He's talked about his scheduling and the folks that he contracts out from out west that put together some teams that would be good for him to put on the schedule so that the metrics look good at the end. He's talked about best ways to keep guys healthy and charting what foot players land on at practice more often than not. Like the level of detail that he goes into in a lot of answers in press conferences and discussions is really above and beyond what most coaches will do. And I think you'll find that in the sit down that Chris Blair had with Will Wade last week that's they're live now online. There are a couple things I wanted to talk about that one is important, one is not all that important, but that caught my attention. And the first one that's not all that important to you, the LSU fan, but is an interesting behind-the-curtain look at Will Wade, is he talked about winning at LSU as opposed to winning somewhere else. And what he mentioned was winning with your friends and your people. What he said was, we can take our program anywhere and we can win. And he's proven that. He won at VCU. He won at Chattanooga. He won at LSU. He won at McNeese. And he got to the tournament in year one at NC State. He can win just about anywhere. But the relationships he built in his time in Louisiana, which amounts to about a decade if you look at LSU and McNeese combined, are attractive to him in terms of the quality of his life professionally. And again, this is not important to you, the LSU fan, but I thought it was interesting. And there's an element of this, of course, that has to do with finances. He knows people here with money. Monday night's event at the Supper Club is an evidence of that. It's a little bit more difficult to talk to people you don't know very well and get north of $2 million extracted in a 2-hour dinner. And he did that on Monday, according to reports from Matt. He knows people with money here. And that's a big deal in this era. But he also just likes the people here. That's evidenced in the fact that he was fired from here while Verge Osbury was in the athletic department. Verge Osbury now runs the athletic department, and Will Wade came back and did so in a fashion that was pretty messy in Raleigh, North Carolina. You're trying to get ready to play a play-in game in the NCAA tournament, and you're answering press conference questions about leaving and kind of eschewing those questions. Like, it was uncomfortable. He could have shut that all down. So, no, I'll be at North Carolina State and stay at North Carolina State. But the drawback to LSU was just more than he was willing to turn down. And I think that's interesting. He made it clear at his press conference, but he doubled down on it. And this was more about the friends that he's met along the way, both in Baton Rouge and in Lake Charles. I think that's interesting. Now, this next part is important. That part's not. This is. It's about the European players. And this is all going to get cleared up here with the 5 for 5 that got put into place this week. But for this year, it's not as contained and boxed up neatly. There are some loopholes, if you want to call it that LSU is able to run through to get players to play on this roster. And I have fought with it personally. Not professionally, personally. About going to get 26-year-olds to run the point and going overseas to get a bunch of guys who will be here for 8 months to play basketball and then leave. About getting a guy to try to come in to play who was the Big East Player of the Year, but then is part of 2 NBA organizations to come back. Like, I have struggled with that personally because it doesn't feel like the spirit of what we're trying to do. And I've also, the reason I struggle with it is because I feel like we just got the schedule. They're going to Auburn this year. They're going to Rupp this year. When I watch that game on television and there's a team out there in purple and gold, at that point, I don't need a birth certificate. I don't need to know what language he speaks first. I don't need to know how much he made in the Italian league. I don't need to know whether or not he is properly enrolled in school. Like, when they tip the ball off, I'm probably not going to care. That's just me. That's the way I'm wired when LSU plays sports. I wrestle with it 6 months out based on what the rules say. That's my personal feeling. And then here's what Will Wade said to Chris Blair yesterday. He said, you're not going to be able to do this with the European guys forever. They're going to put a stop to that. However, there are European guys playing for just about every team in the country. And, I mean, LSU had one last year. He didn't play very much, but you brought in Ron Zipper from overseas where he had played pro basketball. Just about everybody has him. And he called it a market inefficiency. That there are better players that are more prepared to help you win college basketball games in Italy than there are in the AAU circle at Peach Jam in Atlanta. There are better players. And some schools aren't willing to go over there and recruit them. I am. It's a market inefficiency. I have a faster track to some better players than others because I'm willing to go do that and fight the battles here. And while I still don't feel awesome about a 26-year-old point guard who's played 7 years of pro basketball and a 2-time NBA organization member playing for LSU and don't even know that they will be eligible to do so, I do appreciate LSU's head coach, especially in basketball, willing to find any market efficiency he possibly can. Because let's be completely candid about this from an LSU basketball perspective. If you try to run this race exactly the way it's been run for 30 years here in Baton Rouge, the results aren't very good. If you continue to go get 3-star kids from Mobile and transfers from Cal Bakersfield and projects who are 6'10", but They had offers from Southern Miss, Rice, and UTEP, and that's what you try to win with. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. You will not win here. I've watched winners here that went out and found NBA players. Johnny Jones got Ben Simmons. Johnny Jones got Skylar Mays. Johnny Jones got Jarrell Martin. He got pros. Jordan Mickey. And they got to the tournament. And they had a chance to win. Will Wade had pros. He went and got Tremont Waters. He went and got Trenton Watford. He went and got Cam Thomas. He went and got Naz Reid. He got pros. He got Tari Easton out of the portal in its infancy. And at LSU, right now, you've got an assembly center that's empty. It's one of the lesser basketball facilities in the country. You've got a football program that's eaten a monster share of rev share. You've got a baseball program that's prying in for its share. You've got a women's basketball program that's prying in for its share. You are fighting for scraps at LSU men's basketball. And while I don't feel super awesome about the two guys I'm mentioning that feel not in the spirit of the rules, I do feel awesome that the basketball coach at LSU is willing to say, I got to do things a little bit differently to win here. Let's go. Whatever it takes, I'm going to go do it. He did it at the time previously, and he's doing it again. And I get this all the time from non-LSU fans. From people that love LSU, I don't really get this that much. Some, but not a lot. From people that don't love LSU, I get this a lot. Aren't you embarrassed by the last time? Let me spell this out for you very clearly. N-O. No, I'm not embarrassed. Why? North Carolina went on probation. Kansas got in trouble. Arizona's in hot water. Auburn got in trouble. All these programs are at the top of the sport. Got investigated. Gotten tied to this kind of stuff. You think Duke's clean? Come on. John Calipari, they tear down banners every place he goes because of stuff that's going on. I like LSU to play by those rules. No more of the 3-star kid from Jackson, Mississippi. Don't need the transfer who averaged 4 a game for Northern Iowa. Let's go. So that's where I went with the sentiment from Will Wade. He said, this is a market inefficiency. It won't be there forever. But right now, this is how we put the best product on the floor. And I still have feelings about it at this point in the calendar. The fact of the matter is that when they tip it off, when they play Houston and Gonzaga and Alabama and Kentucky and Florida and Tennessee, I want them to be as good as they can be. And Will Wade's going to make every effort to make that happen. And he's happy here. And there aren't a lot of schools around the country that are going to want to hire him. And it feels like, to me, the likely scenario here, not the lock, the likely scenario here, is that LSU's got a basketball coach that's going to make things relatively fun around here from Christmas to middle of March way more often than he's not. And guess what? I've lived here for 19 years. I'll take it. Because for most of the 19 years, that has not been the case. I can still hold those 2 points of view. I'm a little uncomfortable with this reach, but I like the big picture. And that's what I gathered from Will's conversation with Chris Blair that aired yet last night. That, yeah, this may not be the shiniest thing to do, but it's just proof that he's willing to go the extra mile to make LSU basketball relevant and potentially great. It's usually not, so I'll take it. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We will step aside. When we come back, LSU's headed to Knoxville. It has been a minute since LSU went to Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll talk about Josh Heupel's Vols next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about my friends over at Ochsner. Look, whether you're an athlete or just trying to stay active, Ochsner Rangers Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute can help get you moving and keep you moving. You got access at Ochsner to the highest levels of specialized care, nationally renowned expertise, the latest equipment, and modern facilities. And one of those is obviously the Elite Training Complex on Burbank. It's located right there on Burbank when you need care fast. They got on-site x-rays, so if you've got sprains, strains, minor dislocations, sports injuries, including ACL tears, you can walk in without an appointment. They want to get you back to healing and back to doing what you love. Learn more at ochsner.org/brortho, ochsner.org/brortho.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Shout out to my friends at Gotros Outdoor Power. They're online at gotrosonline.com. Family owned and operated, 22 years in business, Baton Rouge and Gonzales. Gotro family is awesome to work with. If you're looking for a new zero-turn mower, there's no other place to go. Like, you can certainly buy a zero-turn mower from one of the big box stores, but do you ever hear from them again? What's the customer service like? At Gotros Outdoor Power, they're going to take care of you. If you buy one of their Hustler products, you need a trailer to get it home, they got one for you. If you've got an issue and need a part, they got the largest parts inventory in the state, and they got trucks on the road 8 hours a day. They can get that part to you. You got a local team that's here to help you in the buying process and after the sale. That's the difference in working with a local company like Gotros Outdoor Power. Don't mistake local for small. National Hustler Deal of the Year, 2 of the last 3 years, and the biggest Hustler inventory in the state by a long shot. Plus, the biggest parts inventory in the state. Awesome people, awesome products, fantastic deals that you can get in the month of June. Go by and see them at Gotros Outdoor Power. They've got their own extended warranty. Gotros is the warrantor. You can add 2 years or 200 hours to the manufacturer's warranty at Gotros Outdoor Power. Go by and see them on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge or in Gonzales. Gotros Outdoor Power. Okay, let's talk about the Tennessee Vols. Do y'all know the last time that LSU went to Tennessee? I shudder to think how old the two people behind the glass were for that game. 2017 was the last time that LSU went to Tennessee. It was the monsoon game that Ed Ogeron coached there. LSU won it by 20. Tennessee was still in their decades of misery post-Phil Fulmer. But that's the last time LSU went to Knoxville. It's a great trip, by the way. If you've never been, Calhoun's on the River is a great spot. It's kind of like walk-ons for them. It's a sports bar. They got great food, and you're on the water right outside the stadium. Great spot. They got steakhouses, barbecue restaurants there. They got some nice hotels. The stadium is kind of looks like an erector set in some ways, but it is really big, and it's on the river there, the Tennessee River, which is really nice. Good trip. You should make it if you're an LSU fan this year, but if you are an LSU fan, you had a chance to make it since 2017, so you finally get a chance to go back to Knoxville. And it's crazy because this was such a huge story when Lane Kiffin went back to Knoxville the first time as the head coach of Ole Miss. It was in 2021, and they, of course, threw bottles at him. They threw the mustard bottle at him. They threw golf balls. Like, it was a bad scene. It was an infamous scene. And that's going to happen again this year, and no one's talking about it at all because Oxford is going to be way worse. It's like the Seinfeld episode where Elaine can't figure out what's wrong with her boyfriend. People have this terrible thought on him, and she thinks he's great. And it's like, well, why? Well, and then she finds out that he's a bad breaker-upper. You don't know it's bad until it's over. That's when he calls her big head. And then, they get into it. So it's like, that's Lane Kiffin. He's a bad breaker-upper. And you're going back to both places that he's broken up with an ex-employer, and this will be the second one, and I don't think anybody's really focused on it. But as far as the football goes, Tennessee has got to run the football. And they didn't do it as well last year. In 2024, they made the college football playoff. They led the SEC in rushing yards, 5 yards a carry. They went 10-2. They were a great running team. And last year, they dropped to 7th in the SEC and finished 8-4. When you think Heupel, people probably think high-flying, deep balls, fast-paced, but they want to run the ball. And even though the 2022 team, with Hendon Hooker at the helm, that was so good until he got hurt and they got smashed by South Carolina, that team threw it way better than they ran it, but they also ran for 40 touchdowns. That was second best in the SEC. Like, they were 8th in the SEC in low yards per carry, but they scored touchdowns running the ball. And Hooker was good enough through the air that carried a really high-flying offense. They got to get back to running the ball. I don't know if they will. Deshaun Bishop, was a former walk-on. He was a second-team All-SEC player last year. He's going to be probably their lead back. They went and got Javin Gordon from Tulane. He started 6 games for them as a freshman last year, but they don't necessarily have that bell cow NFL tailback that you would like to have. But they're going to try to run it, and that's going to be a big, big key to what Tennessee is this year offensively. Now, one thing that's interesting about their schedule for Tennessee, and this doesn't have anything to do with the LSU-Tennessee game, but it does have to do with this Tennessee team and maybe what they're playing for when LSU goes. Because keep in mind, LSU goes to Knoxville the week before Thanksgiving. They go to Knoxville when the rest of the SEC is playing Renowinds. It's the second to last game of the season. So there could be some real stakes at play here. And Tennessee has righted some wrongs under Josh Heupel with rivals. They've won 3 out of 4 against Florida. That is rarefied air. They had lost 16 of 17 before that. 16 of 17. Tennessee had lost to Florida. Now they've won 3 of 4. So they've righted that. Bama owned them, won 15 in a row under Saban. But Tennessee's beaten Alabama in Knoxville the last 2 times, and they get them in Knoxville this year. So they've righted the Florida and Alabama wrongs. Georgia is the problem. Georgia has won 14 of 16 over Tennessee. But guess what? Georgia's not on the schedule this year. In the new 9-game format, Georgia rolls off. So Tennessee does have to go on the road a lot. They play 5 league road games and a non-conference road game. They've got to go to Texas A&M. That's going to be hard. They got to go to Arkansas. They got to go to South Carolina. They got to go to Kentucky. They got to go to Vanderbilt. And they've also got to go to Georgia Tech. But those are manageable. At Arkansas is manageable. At South Carolina is manageable. At Kentucky is manageable. At Vanderbilt is manageable. At Georgia Tech is manageable. At A&M is going to be tough. What they've got to do is hold serve at home. That's what Tennessee's got to do. And it's going to be tough. Texas comes, Bama comes, LSU comes. Also Auburn, I'm not really putting them in that category. But it's a home-heavy schedule for Tennessee in terms of the opponents. It's a road-heavy schedule in terms of the number of times they play away from Neyland. People in Knoxville are looking for Josh Heupel to take another step. The furthest Josh Heupel has brought this program thus far is to hold your own with Bama, hold your own with Florida, get to the college football playoff. Like, that is a mouthful, and that's, if you would have told any Tennessee fan when Heupel went to the podium for his opening remarks at his press conference and said he'd been hired, and said he's going to turn it around and beat Bama 2 times in a row in Knoxville, he's going to win 3 out of 4 against Florida, he's going to snap y'all's streak in the swamp, and he's going to make the college football playoff, Tennessee fans would have said, where do I sign this? This is awesome. But now that that's a little bit in the rearview mirror, it's like, okay, you did that. What's next? Because when they went to the college football playoff, they went to Columbus, and now they played a great Ohio State team, but they got smashed. Got smashed in Columbus. So where's the next step? Is this a team that does it? I have my doubts, but the one thing I like about Josh Heupel's team, and you will hear me say this in Tampa when we do media days, at least I know that Tennessee will have an identity. At least I know when they show up, they're tough to game plan for because of the tempo that they use. Their quarterbacks have been productive. He even got Joe Milton to play decent. But you've had productive quarterbacks. Whatever happened with Nico happened. Aguilar was fine. Hooker was a star. But they're going to run that tempo, and they're going to be pretty good on offense. They got to run the ball. They got to play better on defense, and they've got to hold their own against big-name opponents. I don't know that I'm betting on Tennessee this year. I bet against them last year. They went 8-4. That's kind of what I thought they would be. I didn't think they'd be very good, and they weren't. That's one of the few ones I got right. But they're fascinating, no question. And LSU will go to Knoxville the second to last weekend of November, right before Thanksgiving, and probably a cold weather environment. Got to go out there and find a way to win a ball game. But Tennessee is a tough place to play. LSU just hadn't found that out since 2017. It's been a minute. I was there in 2011 for LSU and Tennessee. I was there in 2006 for LSU and Tennessee. A couple of LSU wins. I like Knoxville. I like the trip. If you're a Tiger fan looking to make a trip for a road game this fall, I think Knoxville will be a pretty good one if you've got a winter jacket to bring, because it might be a little bit chilly up there on the Tennessee River in November. That's a look at the Vols as we go through LSU's entire schedule one by one. We'll do Arkansas tomorrow to kind of wrap that. And then My in-depth chart piece is going to start on LouisianaSports.net. I'm going to go into every single position on the roster with a look at who's there, what we know about them, and my projection for that spot on the roster. That starts on LouisianaSports.net on Saturday morning. One more piece on LSU's schedule with Arkansas tomorrow. All right, let's close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci, join the Hitter's House. Become a member of the Hitter's House over at Marucci. You got a youth baseball player, youth softball player in your house that wants to work on his or her game, but you don't have the space in the yard, or it's too wet outside, or it's too hot outside. Join the Hitter's House. Get that access into the Hitter's House 24/7 with that key card, and you can get access to the batting cages. You can get access to the pitcher's mound. Work on your game all summer long. What a great gift to that youth baseball or softball player in your house to become a member at Marucci. Go to MarucciSports.com. You can buy tickets to the campus tour and see Marucci for your own eyes, see where they make the official bat of Major League Baseball, see where they make 1,300 of them every single day, and, of course, be a member of the Hitter's House as well. It's the Hitter's House, and it's all there at Marucci.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Sure, you've noticed the price of beef wherever it is that you pick that up weekly, climbing, and you feel like you're paying a premium price. Are you getting a premium product? Maybe not. Herd levels are very, very low right now. That's put a crunch on demand with a lower supply, and prices have reflected that. When you buy that beef, do you know if it's been treated improperly with antibiotics? Do you know if steroids have been injected? Do you know how many DNA are in that 1 pound pack of ground beef that you picked up? Do you know? The answer is probably no. If you go to Sagrera Farms, you know there's no steroids. You know there's no improper use of antibiotics. You know where that came from, and there's one DNA in the beef that you bring home, and it's prime every single time. If you're paying for prime and getting substandard product, why? Go to Sagrera Farms. Go to Sean Sagrera. Make sure that the ground beef you use every night is prime. When you go to put steaks on the grill, summer heat, burgers, prime, fillets, ribeyes, strips, skirts, flanks, picanha, chuck roast, brisket. It's the best of the best. Some of the top 1% of the beef nationally. Sean Sagrera has it at Sagrera Farms. Well, how do I get in touch with him? Well, there's only two places you can get Sagrera Farms beef. You can go to Supper Club and see if they have any left. Or you can go to Sagrera Farms and contact my guy Sean Sagrera and put a whole cow in your freezer. Or split it between 5 people. Get half a cow. Get a quarter. You can do that at Sagrera Farms, and you're promised to have prime Angus beef. So give Sean a call. I give you his number every single week. 225-719-1723. That's 225-719-1723. Say, I heard about your stuff on Hunt's show. Love to talk to you about it. Let's get a cow. He'd love to help you. It's Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. They bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. All right, we're closing in on the finish line here on this Thursday. I'm about ready to check out of town. We got one more week to go here before we hit the road as a family to the beach. Looking forward to that. I'll be out next week, and it's been it's the way the last week before vacation goes. It can be a little slow, and this one's featured a sick kid and a bum car and lots of things that have gone on. But we're going to get to the finish line, and we're going to get to the beach. But I got one more day for you. We got 2 hours. We'll talk to Preston Guy about some LSU recruiting tomorrow. I anticipate some movement in the baseball transfer portal over the next 48 hours, so I'll talk about that on tomorrow's show as well. So we'll have plenty to do on tomorrow's show, and looking forward to that to kind of close the week out and get me out of here for a little bit. But we still have one more order of business today, and let's take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it.
All right, so Cade Anderson has had an astounding season so far for the Seattle Mariners AA team, Arkansas Travelers. He is currently 7-0 with a 1.02 ERA, pitched 61 innings with 90 strikeouts. The third overall pick in the 2025 MLB draft has not disappointed at all. However, he has not been called up yet. Is he well deserving of a call up to the majors? Take it or leave it.
I mean, I would take it. He's deserving of a call. He would get outs out of the bullpen right now for the Mariners, and he might be able to help them in the rotation right now. I would think that as well. But I'm looking at the MLB standings here, and you look out west in the American League, and Seattle has got a 2-game lead on the Astros, so they're not in a hurry here to get things done. That lead actually was 4 as of 2 days ago. Now, that's not a huge lead, but the Mariners are not hurting. They will, however, be in the race. They're 44-44. They're the best team in their division, and I think they will call him up by the end of July. It may be in a relief role, but if somebody gets hurt in their rotation, he's obviously the next one up.
It said most likely by the end of summer. So.
Yeah, so he'll be up at some point this year. He keeps things up and stays healthy, and we'd love to see that.
So the NFL came out with power rankings ranked 1 through 8 of teams that have the best chance to go from worst to first this season.
Okay.
The Saints are second on the list, with the reasoning of a wide open division after Carolina winning. Crazy, I forgot they won it. With just an 8-9 record. Shuck having a strong end to the season. So will the Saints prove this? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I mean, you look at the teams. The Lions, I think, are on that list.
Yeah, Lions
right?
are first.
I mean,
yes.
of course, and that's a tough division.
Yeah.
And you look at some of the other teams that were bottom feeders that are still probably considered bottom feeders. I don't think the Browns are going to make some sort of awesome move here. I don't think the Cardinals are in a position to make a great
either. I don't even think the Raiders.
Yeah. So you're looking at a bunch of teams that still look bad, and there are teams in their division that are really good. Like, to be first, the Cardinals are going to have to overtake the Seahawks.
Right.
The Saints have to overtake the Bucks. Like, I think that's pretty doable. No, sorry, the Panthers. So I think that's a little bit more doable. I think the Saints I think making them second is exactly right.
All right, so the World Cup is being hosted by 16 cities around the United States, and 2 of them are Houston and Dallas. Being such a huge soccer and World Cup fan you are, Hunt.
Yes.
Is there a possibility that you could be attending a World Cup match? Take it or leave it.
I will leave that. Here's the way it could be done. You would have to get me a ticket, a pretty good ticket, and probably arrange my transportation.
Okay.
I would be open to going. I'm not paying $10 to go see the World Cup, and I'd like someone to fly me or drive me there. But I would go. If they were playing in Tiger Stadium and I got a free ticket, I would go. But I don't have any interest in going to see Uruguay and Puerto Rico or whatever. Whatever. It's just not my deal.
Only if it's free.
If it's free, I'm in.
Yeah.
It'd be better if you bought my drinks too. My buddy's been to 4. He's been to 4
Really?
Houston games.
Okay.
He goes a lot, but it's just not in my bag.
Have you seen the prices?
No. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, whole countries are coming over here.
Right.
So you would imagine the demand's outrageous. I have a take. Maybe it's bad. Probably bad take. Is the World Cup too big? Like, it's like 4 weeks. No, sorry, it's like 6 weeks.
Really?
It's like,
I had no idea how long it was.
I mean, the USA plays again tonight. That's 3 weeks, and they haven't even gotten to the knockout round yet.
Right.
So you got to play at least 3 more. It's 6 weeks. That's a long time for a tournament.
I think
we need
it was
to cut the amount of teams.
64 countries.
Do we need 64 countries? What if we cut that to 32?
I think it's at 32 right now, which is the start of the knockout.
What if we turned it to 16? That's what we need. 16. There's too many teams. It's too long.
Give me a game prediction for tonight. USA versus Turkey at 7.
Well,
Who you got?
I've got Turkey because are we even trying? It doesn't matter, right? We're going to
Turkey's actually 0-2. We're 2-0.
Right, but we're locked in as the 1 seed in our group. We can get nothing out of this game. So I'll take Turkey and hope we win. Who cares? I do like the fact they're playing a game that doesn't matter. That allows the soccer fans to enjoy the game, have some drinks if you want, have some food if you want, no stress, enjoy watching the USA. You don't get to do that a lot, and you don't have to be stressed out about losing. And then next time they play, you'll be real stressed out about them losing. And so you can ramp up to that. I like the environment around this game where it doesn't matter.
It brings college football vibes, in my opinion, with all the different countries, and they're still more passionate about it than us. And it's kind of cool. You get to see a bunch of celebrations and
6 weeks. We need that. We need 6 weeks.
I don't think 6 weeks, maybe a month at most, but it's really cutting it close. But that's it. We'll take it or leave it.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It here on this Thursday. We've run through a lot of ground here on this show. We started with Kylie McDaniel's ranking of LSU baseball's portal prospects. He likes them as professional draft picks, and that's a change of pace from last year. If you want to hear that, go back to the top of the show today. Luke Johnson, we talked special teams with Luke. Talked Saints kicking competition for field goals, how well they've shored up the punter position, whether or not Barry Brown is a lock for the roster as a returner. All that is at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well. We know who LSU basketball will play on their schedule in conference play. Discussed that at 1:30 and did a little bit more on Will Wade's sit down with Chris Blair at 2:15. ESPN has Ty Benefield as the number 6 defensive player in college football this fall. I discussed that. You can find it at Hunt on LSU, wherever you find podcasts, or of course on YouTube. Plus, broke down LSU's second to last opponent of the season, the Tennessee Vols. Thank you all so much for subscribing up to the channel. Just click Hunt Palmer Show. Like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First, let me tell you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Incredible deals in the month of June on those trucks. Get on by and see 2026 Chevy Silverados at 0% APR financing for 36 months now until the end of the month. Incredible deal. You can get a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500, only 2.9% financing for 72 months now until the end of the month. Get on by. As you know, it's the 25th. That means the month is coming up on the end.